Buenos dias, Gunners Collective TV. Back at it, you already know. Like a motherfucking smack addict. Bye. In a menudo style and direct fashion, we're going to get straight into the content of the day. But before we do, let's hit that like and subscribe button thing. Put your notification bell on all so that way you're directed in the direction of the dope content I am kicking. And I highly appreciate all the support, man. We're going up on this channel. It's all because of you. And for that, I can say I'm very humbled and very much appreciative. So this is a little bit of a hot topic, man. This is something that popped up yesterday. And I kind of wanted to give you my 2 cents, my perspective. We did a little live yesterday, myself and Dubs, kind of about the situation and all the alternative methods to clearing up a situation on the YouTube yard, right? I don't like that. YouTube yard, I've never liked that. Ain't no fucking yard on YouTube, okay? Ain't no none of that. That's some weird shit that was made up by some J-Cat, right? But at the same time, it is what it is. You know, if that's what people want to say, if they want to call the prison genre the YouTube yard, whatever the fucking case may be, right? I'm not trying to be on any yard, period. You know what I mean? Half these motherfuckers need to get up off their lazy ass and water their yard because it looks all tore up. But there was a situation that escalated yesterday between a few different content creators, okay? And most notably, Homie Hangout, you know, and Splinter from Prison POV. First of all, respects to both of those individuals. And then there's another guy that got involved for whatever reason, man. And, you know, I've never had an issue with that guy as well. So we're gonna talk about it. But I think the whole issue was surrounding Woods, brother, in the California yard. Now, I've done time with Woods. Since I was a young kid, man, in the youth authority all the way to prison, there's always been Woods. There's always been a Wood presence, whether it was Skins or Woods, and those are two different groups, but they run together up under that white flag. There's different types of Woods. Now, if you guys listen to my content, I do a Super Wood, which was my homeboy Roach. Now, that was a dirty white man right there. That motherfucker needed a shower to the next power, right? But at the same time, he was still a solid dude. He still had smarts. He still was willing to go all out. He was a dangerous man, dangerous individual. And most Woods that I've been around have been dangerous. Now, I guess, you know, the Homie Hangout allegedly did a video, I guess sometime last week, where he talked about his interaction with Woods and pretty much told his truths. You can't be mad at a man for talking about his interactions, how he feels, and what he's seen on yards or what he says he's seen, right? Now, everyone has different interactions. Everyone's been to different yards, so you're going to see different things. And we all hear the cliches and the jokes. Hey, Wood, take a fucking shower, brother. You're on biker status, right? We've all heard that. They play with each other like that. But the truth of the matter is, man, I've seen a lot of clean Woods. I've seen a lot of Woods, man, that conduct themselves. They're creased up. They conduct themselves very, very vicious, very respectful, very respectable individuals, man. You know, it seems like ever since I was young, and I'm going to be honest with you, the Woods that I interacted with or that I seen or that I even battled against, man, because I was on the other side of that coin when it came to the Woods function with the Southerners, you know, and that leads me to this. They all functioned with the Southsiders. They were always very close. Now, whether they had an alliance or not, I can't tell you that. I know in the youth authority, though, it was the truth. If you were a Wood and you wanted to really be with the business, then you hung around with the Southerners. Okay? Didn't mean that you were a Southsider or you claimed any type of Mexican things, but they definitely functioned with them. And when you function with the Southerners, you're going to function up under what they got going on, their program. Right? We've seen the movie Shot Caller. Southsiders and Woods down, right? They do a lot of exercising together. They did a lot of business together. And one thing about the Southsiders is they have a rule. You're not going to be a dirtbag. You're not going to be on that yard with some fucked up ass tight pants. You're not going to be looking like DK all confuzzled running around the yard. Okay? You're going to be presentable because you're an extension of something bigger than yourself, of that whole group. So if you're running around looking all fucking like Fraggle Rock, right? What's going to happen? People are going to look at your group like they're all just a bunch of ragtag individuals. So they were always clean, creased up. Very, very much so they displayed a lot of professionalism, just like the Norteños. You know, that's always been a rule. You're not going to run around with a chueco-ass shirt on, fucking whiskers hanging out your... I mean, you just look like you fucking should be playing Dungeons and Dragons somewhere, on a 1 yard. No, these guys were always real professional, and all the woods that ran with them or was side by side, they were the same way. Creased up, clean. Now, don't get it twisted. I have seen some dirty motherfuckers that look like they bathe in meth, right? But at the same time, I've seen dirty people from every different group. The paisas, man, I love my paisas, but they get a bad name in prison. And it's crazy because they're the ones doing all the sewing, all the ironing. They have everybody in that motherfucker looking lavish D, right? They have everyone looking clean. But they get a bad reputation like, oh, they're a bunch of dirty Mexicans. Nah, that ain't the truth. That's far from the truth. Them paisas be cleaned up, man. They be ready to go to church cleaned up. That's the truth. So when I guess Josh, Homie Hangout, did his video, I guess he ran into a couple woods that he said were very disheveled. They were very unclean. And, I think him saying that and also saying that they weren't organized, and remember, this is what he see. This was the yard he was on. And every yard's different, man. Maybe that was the case. Maybe he's telling his truth. And Splinter didn't like that. Splinter took that personal. Now, Splinter's wood from Bakersfield, man. And, sometimes people feel played when their gente is talked about, and they feel like, hey, man, you're trying to fucking run us through the mud and give us a bad reputation or name here on the yard, or on the YouTube yard, right? Tell the truth. Tell the truth. But the truth is, that is Josh's truth. I think this breakdown of communication between these two, and one guy's opinion being stated as facts, is definitely a situation, man, that causes disaster, especially when other people start sticking their nose in two grown men's business. But I will say this, when you put your stuff in public on blast, when you put yourself out there saying, hey, I got a problem with this guy, I didn't like what he said, then of course it's open for everyone else to chime in and to speak on what they want to speak on. And usually motherfuckers are going to pump the shit up and they're going to take it a whole day. Did you hear he said this too? Did you hear he said that? I think the homie Hangout is very educated and smart. He's been around, man. I'm going to tell you that. That's a fact, right? I got to give him his respect on that. Whether I like him or he likes me or all that doesn't matter. I'm not into liking men anyways. So fuck that, right? But he definitely, his opinions, I listen to him because they're educated opinions. Sometimes I believe he wants to be the smartest one in the room, but sometimes he is, so you got to give him that. He does his fact checking. He does his thing. We have a difference of opinion when it comes to myself because we've never met in real life. But everything that I've seen, I will say is he displays the characteristics of a norteño. Northerners I was around back in the days. Vatos that didn't take educated guesses. They talked educated facts, right? So when he said this about the woods, and I've looked for the video, I can't find it, but this is according to what Splinter said. I mean, I've been around where I've seen, or I've heard the woods play with each other and joke around, right? But as far as saying that they're not structured, they're not organized, man, no. That's not the truth. Maybe where he was at, they weren't. But most places, they come from a long line of very educated individuals, especially when it comes to them prison yards. Them woods ain't no joke, man. They might horseplay with each other. They might look like their fucking mind's not right there. But best believe when something goes down in that yard, they do their thing. Now, woods don't always have the numbers. And as an ex-Norteño, I could tell you this right now, man. I could identify with them and sympathize with that. Because the blacks have the majority of the yard. And then the Southsiders. Yeah, I said it. I know a lot of people like to think the Southsiders control all the yards. They're the deepest. But I think Dubs has told you before, and that's the truth. The blacks are the deepest on pretty much every yard. They are just fragmented into different groups. Parus, Bloods, Crips, Kumis, the Jamas. You got the Muslims, the non-affiliates. So because you have all these different groups, the only time they really function and come together is if they're doing business or if it's guerra, if they're going at it with the Southerners or the Northerners or the whites, right? So the blacks are deep on the yard. Now, when it comes to the woods and the skins, they're not as deep on any California prison yard. I think they had like 1 or 2 yards where you would see a lot of them. I know in Susanville, that was the White House. They were pretty deep, right? But usually they're the minority in numbers. They don't got much more than paisa numbers, right? The paisas I have like 15, 20, there might be 25, 30 whites. Not very many. And then they're fragmented into two groups. Of course, you have the skins, and then you have the woods, two different philosophies, but because they're all white, you know, they run together up under a different certain organization. But that's just the way it is. But the thing is, when it comes time to rock, all the blacks, all the Southsiders, all the Northerners, everyone is their enemy, their opposition, depending upon what group they're going at. Now, I know a lot of people like to think that the woods, the whites, that they all run with the Southsiders. Every time the Southsiders jump, they got to jump. No. Because 9 times out of 10, if the Southsiders jumping, it's on them, right? Or back and forth. I've seen more woods and skins go at it with Southerners than I've seen any other groups on the yards. Yes, I said it. More than Norteños and Southsiders, more than blacks and whites, blacks and I've seen it. It's probably about tie, though, with blacks and Southsiders. Blacks and Southsiders go at it a lot. Northerners are probably the group that have the least tension because there's not very many of them. People feel like they don't pose a threat, but they're a very dangerous group. That or people understand that they're very dangerous, structured, militant, and that they get off. So you don't really see too much things going on with Northerners, but when you do, it's dangerous. There's going to be fucking helicopters and bodies. Facts. Now, I understand that Splinter's feeling some type of way. And he went on live and he basically told homie Hangout, like, hey, bro, put him on the spot, like, hey, I don't agree. And there's different ways to do that, but I guess, man, if someone puts something out on YouTube, you feel you have to clap back. I understand, man, I've been through a lot of those situations, but I'm here to tell both these fellas, and I know Josh's mentality, homie Hangout's mentality. He ain't tripping. That Vato is far from tripping. He's like, hey, bro, if the Vato wants to get views, if he wants to make something big out of it, it's not a big deal. I can just tell you that right from the gate without even talking to him. I know his mentality, man. One of them guys, it is what it is. Whereas Splinter still has that prison mentality, that wood mentality, brother. That fuck you, brother mentality, right? Now, let me tell you this. Okay? The woods are known for certain things on the yards. Being dirty is not one of them. Being disorganized is not one of them. Being high is one of them, right? They're definitely running around, man, doing their thing on that yard, staying high. Another thing that and this is just my perspective, man. This is not to disrespect. I'm just telling you what I've seen. Another thing the woods were known for on the yard is weaponry. They make the best goddamn weapons I've ever seen in my life on the yard. If you're in a fucking building and a woods light's on all night, someone's getting stabbed the next day with something that looks like a deer antler sharpened, right? These guys make the best weapons because people will use the cliche that they got the tweaker mentality. And let's be honest. Let's be totally honest, right? There's a lot of woods whites that are in prison because they were running amok on the streets. They were getting high than a motherfucker. There's a lot of Mexicans that were doing the same thing. Blacks that were doing the same thing. You know, everyone likes to act like their people are just solid and don't indulge in nothing. But that's everybody was tweaking out there, getting high than a motherfucker, right? And then they want to go into prison and play this solid role and start doing push-ups and act like they're, you know, I'll never touch that shit. Man, you better stop it. You was out there, motherfucker, buying a ball night. Get out of here, right? And the woods go in there, and that's their thing. Can I get coffee, brother? Right? They like to stay wide awake. And they get that there's a perception, and they get that stigma that they're just tweaked out, and that's all they care about. And no, that's not the truth, man. You know, they're organized. They're very organized. I'll tell you, if they weren't organized, they wouldn't exist in the California prison system. See, groups that are not organized, or at least have some type of structure or hierarchy, they don't last. You need to be able to have a presence on that yard and be able to plant your flag. You know, in the California prison system, it's survival of the fittest. And if your group doesn't have a backbone, they're weak, they're dirty, they're not organized, they're not going to be on that yard. Real motherfucking gangsters ain't going to function around a bunch of riffraff. You know, I've been around some woods that are just solid as a rock. Best believe that. You know, so I understand why Splinter's upset. You know, as far as, you know, people judging people, that's not a good thing to do. You know, but I also understand that coming from a northern mentality like the homie Hangout does, you know, the whites were always our opposition in prison. Now, I got white friends, man. I talk about Roach all the time. But when I went to the California system, I understood that the Woods were on the opposite side of the fence. That they were actually, and this, it's crazy to say this, but this is the truth. They were actually more of an opposition or more of a threat than the Southerners. And I'll explain to you why. It seemed like we were going at it more with the whites everywhere I went. You know, and I know a lot of people like to say, well, they were doing the Southsiders bidding. Nah, there's already been enough guerra, enough blood spilled between the two organizations and groups, the whites, the Woodskins, and the Northerners, that it's an automatic thing, man. And it's crazy because growing up in Northern California, there was Woods everywhere. Okay, not necessarily guys claiming Woods or gangs that were white. Nothing like that, because you won't see white gangs. You know, a lot of these guys, I mean, you'll see some little things that they got going on, little organizations or groups or whatever, and then they get locked up in prison and they actually become not gang members, but, you know, just, they're about their people. And I get it. Everyone is. You know, it's crazy that the whites get looked at like, oh, a hate group, or they get looked at like racial, or they get looked at like racist. It's crazy in prison when they're just doing the same fucking thing everyone else is doing. Sticking with your own kind, your own people. See, that's kind of an unwritten rule. If you're a black dude and you get to prison, who's the first people you're going to go fuck with? The blacks. Whether it's Crip, Blood, or whatever, Bay Area. That's the first people they're going to go to. Why? Because they look like you. You feel more comfortable around them. Same thing with North and South, man. If you're a Northerner, you get there first thing on the yard, man. Your people are going to approach you. You're going to look for your people. Let me tell you about when I got to Susanville. When I got to Susanville, me and a couple other homeboys got there, right? And I remember, man, walking from R&R. Of course, they placed us in the hole, but there was a Southerner in R&R. And he was like, hey, Holmes, you know, where you from? I said, Merced, what's up? And he was like, hey, that's right. Hey, yeah, your peoples, bro. I hear that you guys in the oil and this is. And he started giving me the rundown. You know, all right now. You know, people will guide you in the direction of your gente. You ain't one of us. Go fuck with your own people. That's how it is. You know, you're not going to get on the yard and everyone's going to just attack you. Unless it's a yard and there's war going on and it's on site. That's a whole different story. But, you know, I know the Woods get a lot of, you know, misplaced judgment on them, that they're just fucking racist and that this, nah, man. You know, there are those, just like there's fucking bad apples from every tree. Anyways, man, getting back to, are they dirty on the yard? Are they non-showering ass motherfuckers? Nah, I've never seen that. You're going to hold your own people accountable. You know, if a motherfucker don't get up and go take a shower, man, people are going to start tripping. You know, isn't it embarrassing if a motherfucker's on the yard, hey, brother, can I get at you, Wood? Yeah, hey, yeah, your homie right there ain't showered for 2 fucking weeks, right? Motherfuckers going to be like, God damn. Everyone watches everyone on the yard. There's people on that yard right now, this morning, as soon as they hit yard, right? And believe me, they're on yard right now in a lot of prisons that are watching everyone. Oh, dirty motherfucker, Charlie Brown, old Linus ass motherfucker over there, right? Well, old pig pen ass motherfucker, right? It ain't happening like that. Because if you're dirty on that yard, man, then everyone's going to feel some type of way about you. Even first and foremost, going to be your own people. So what Josh said was his own interaction. I'm not saying he's wrong whatsoever, but I'm saying he's feeling how he's feeling, man. You know, when he said what he said, and if Splinter feels some type of way, wants to get off where he's mad at, well, you know, then you're going to have to find each other. He can make a phone call, I'm sure. Now, I wanted to talk about this other guy, Buzz. Buzz from Stockton, right? We've always been cool. He's always kept it respectful with me. I know that he feels some type of way about Dubs. I don't know why, man. And I'll tell you this, bro. Kick back, Buzz. Right? I seen a little thing, I seen him in the live and he was going at it with Splinter in defense of the homie Hangout. Let's stop that, Buzz. Because aren't you a Wood, bro? So basically you're saying that your people are dirty and your people are unorganized and your people are... Woods don't do that. Woods stick together, bro. If it ain't white, it ain't right, right? So I don't know why you would do that, bro. Again, respects to you. But I've always thought to myself, bro, like, you don't display the characteristics of a Wood, bro. I've always thought you display the characteristics of a Norteño, a homie. I've always been skeptical, bro. Like, hey, you got a lot of love for the North. And I know growing up in Stockton, Okieville, you're going to have a lot of love for the Northerners because you function around them. But I always thought you was one, bro, to be honest with you. Or was one at one point in time, then fell off and then became a Wood. I don't know, bro. I'm just saying respects to you, but like involving yourself in homie hangout and in fucking Splinter's business, like I'm doing right now. I'm just saying, man, I hope these guys can work it out because they're great content creators, man. And I understand that this was just a miscommunication and something that was taken the wrong way. But Buzz, yeah, that ain't cool to spark that flame to go over there. Like, it tripped me out. Like, I thought you would be over there with Splinter. Like, that's right, Wood. You're over there like XIV to eternity. I don't know what's going on, right? But respects to you, bro, because we've always kept the respect. I'm just saying, bro, let them do their thing, because I seen Miss Splinter. He wants to see Buzz in the ring all of a sudden now. It's crazy shit. With that being said, I just wanted to throw it out there, man. From my perspective with Woods, they've always been solid. They've always been real. They've always been dangerous, man. And I'm going to give them that. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive, struggle for what I truly believe in. And that's the betterment of all people. I just got to keep it real.